Hello, welcome to Bee's Place. Today's devotional is a little bit different. I don't know why the Lord brought me to this. It's long, but I'm shortening it. I'm just taking an excerpt of out of this particular chapter. And it will be coming to you from You'll Get Through This. Hope and Help for Your Turbulent Times. And we are indeed living in turbulent times, by Max Lucado. And I've entitled this excerpt, Are You Ticked Off with God? With your particular situation? Pray your pain out. Pound the table. March up and down the lawn. It's time for tenacious, honest prayers. Angry at God? Disappointed with his strategy? Ticked off at his choices? Let him know it. Let him have it. Jeremiah did. This ancient prophet pastored Jerusalem during a time of economic collapse and political upheaval, invasion, disaster, exile, hunger, death. Jeremiah saw it all. He so filled his devotions with complaints that his prayer journal is called Lamentations. And it's as follows. I'm going to use the Message Bible. And starting with Lamentations 3, verses 1 through 9. I'm the person who has seen trouble coming from the lash of God's anger. He took me by the hand and walked me into pitch black darkness. Yes, he's given me the back of his hand over and over again. He turned me into a scarecrow of skin and bones, then broke the bones. He hemmed me in, ganged up on me, poured on the trouble and hard times. He locked me up in deep darkness like a corpse nailed inside a coffin. He shuts me in so I'll never get out. Manacles on my hands, shackles on my feet. Even when I cry out and plead for help, he locks up my prayers and throws away the key. He sets up blockades with quarried limestone. He's got me cornered. This is a man who is in a really difficult place. And he is filled with dismay and he's just troubled. He want to know, did God leave me? Why did you bring me here to leave me? Jeremiah infused 5 chapters with this type of fury. Summarized the bulk of his book with one line: this life is rotten. Why would God place Lamentations in the Bible? Might it be to convince you to follow Jeremiah's example? Go ahead and file your grievance. I pour out my complaint before him. I tell my trouble before him. Psalms 142 and verse 2. God will not turn away at your anger. Even Jesus offered up prayers with loud cries and tears. Hebrews 5:7. It is better to shake a fist at God than to turn your back on him, Augustine said. How deep in the deep are they who do not cry out of the deep? So how deep are you that you do not cry out of the deep? Words might seem hollow at first. They may seem empty. You will stumble your sentences, fumble your thoughts, but don't quit. Don't hide. Lean on God's people. Cancel your escape to the Himalayas. Forget the deserted island. There is no time to be hermit. Be a barnacle to the boat of God's trust. Hang on to God's trust in his people. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. Matthew 18 and verse 20. Would the sick avoid the hospital? The hungry avoid the food pantry? The discouraged abandon God's hope distribution center? Only at great risk. His people purvey his presence. Moses and the Israelites once battled the Amalekites. The military strategy of Moses was a strange one. He commissioned Joshua to lead the fight in the valley below. Moses ascended the hill to pray, but he did not go alone. He took his 2 lieutenants, Aaron and Hur, while Joshua led the physical combat. Moses engaged in a spiritual fight. Aaron and Hur stood on either side of their leader to hold up his arms in the battle of prayer. The Israelites prevailed because Moses prayed. Moses prevailed because he had others to pray with him. And the author says, my wife did something similar years ago. Dina Lynn battled a dark cloud of depression. Every day was gray. Her life was loud and busy. 2 kids in elementary school, a 3rd in kindergarten, and a husband who didn't know how to get off the airplane and stay home. The days took their toll. Depression can buckle the knees of the best of us, but it can be especially difficult for the wife of a pastor. Congregants expected her to radiate with joy and bite bullets, but Dina Lynn, to her credit, has never been the one to play games. On a given Sunday, when the depression was suffocating, she armed herself with honesty and went to church. If people ask me how I am doing, I am going to tell them. She answered each, how are you? With a candid, not well. I'm depressed. Will you pray for me? Casual chats became long conversations. Brief hellos became heartfelt moments of ministry. By the time she left the worship service, she had enlisted dozens of people to help and to hold her hands in the battle of prayer. She traces the healing of her depression to that Sunday morning service. She found God's presence amid God's people. So did JJ. His hurts are still deep, but his faith is deeper still. Whenever he tells the story of losing Cooper, he says this, we know what the bottom looks like, and we know who is waiting there, Jesus Christ. So when we're at our bottom, when we're at our lowest, God is there. He's not just there during the joyful times, and he's there with us all the time. So we know when we're looking at the bottom, when we're down there, we know also who's waiting there for us to comfort us, and that's Jesus Christ. He's waiting on you, my friend. He's waiting on me. If Joseph's story is any precedent, God can use Egypt to teach you that he is with you. Your family may be gone. Your supporters may have left. Your counselor may be silent. But God has not budged. His promise will stand, and it still stands. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. Genesis 28, verse 15. Today's devotional is really interesting, very heartfelt for me. I hope it has been for you and will encourage you when you're down or when things aren't looking their best and you're not real sure and you're just angry and feeling maybe unloved or there's nobody to help you. Sometimes we just need to be truthful to um, the people around us. I had such a incident Sunday, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but I will. I went to church. Our church was going to go to a event out of town. I wasn't prepared to go to that event, and so I was asked. They said, "Mother B, are you going to go with us?" I said, "No." They said, "Yeah, come on. You know, if you really want to go, you know." I said, "Well, no, my car is here. I don't drive at night." I started with the excuses and just kind of saying, "Well," they said, "if you want to go, we'll make it happen." Well, I ended up going. They made it happen. I didn't have any money. I was honest about that. I said I didn't bring any money with me, and I didn't make preparations. And they said, "We'll handle it all. We'll take care of you. You drive your car home, put it in the garage. My husband will follow you back, and we will take care of you." So God's people is there for us. So be a barnacle on that boat and let people know what's really going on, what's in your heart, and you may be amazed. You may be amazed. I know you'll be amazed at what God will do. And I even got to ride in the back of um, a car that drives itself that I didn't know about until we were about halfway home. And that was such a blessing. I was just amazed at that car, what God has done, the kind of intelligence God has given his people to be able to do some of the things that he's done. And the fact he said, "Well, Mother," he said, "I haven't had my hand on the steering wheel since I left church." I said, "What?" He said, "Yes." And then he explained it all, and I was asking him questions, and he was sharing with me, and I thought, well, you know, we're in the air with airplanes, and airplanes have all kinds of technology that's helping them. The pilots can't really see anything up there in the sky. So I'm just saying this to say, let your friends and let your church folk bless you. I hope this devotion has been a blessing to you. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.